Mia's scream caught in her throat, a silent choke of disbelief as she stood frozen in the backyard. The string lights swayed above, casting fleeting shadows over James and Ethan, their faces pale with shock, hands jerking apart like they'd been burned. She'd only meant to grab her forgotten backpack, but what she saw in that split second would unravel her world. It was a Thursday evening in Willow Creek, a sleepy Ohio town where secrets hid behind picket fences. Mia, 17 and restless, had been navigating her senior year with the weight of college applications and a fractured family. Her mother, Laura, was always working late at the hospital, leaving Mia with her stepfather, James, a gruff but kind man who'd been part of her life since she was 10. James, 45, was the steady hand in their home cooking dinners, fixing leaky faucets, and offering quiet advice. Then there was Ethan, her best friend since middle school, a 22-year-old college dropout who'd returned to town after a rough year. Ethan was all charm and sharp wit, the kind of guy who could make Mia laugh until her sides hurt. They'd spent countless nights sprawled on her bedroom floor, sharing dreams and fears. But tonight, something was different. Mia had been at the library, cramming for a history exam, when she realized she'd left her backpack at home. The walk back was quick, her sneakers crunching on the gravel path to the backyard where she'd left it by the picnic table. She hadn't expected to see anyone James was supposed to be at his hardware store, and Ethan had texted about meeting friends at the diner. But there they were, near the fence, their voices low and urgent. Mia's steps slowed as she caught fragments of words, "Can't keep doing this," and "What about her?" Before she saw them, James's hand rested on Ethan's arm, their faces inches apart, eyes locked in a way that was too intimate, too raw. Mia's heart lurched. She stumbled forward, a twig snapping underfoot, and their heads whipped toward her. "Mia?" James's voice cracked, his hand dropping as if Ethan's skin had turned to fire. Ethan's eyes widened, his mouth opening, but no words coming out. Mia's backpack slipped from her shoulder, hitting the ground with a dull thud. She wanted to run, to scream, to demand answers, but her feet were glued to the grass. The air felt thick, charged with the weight of a truth she wasn't ready to face. What is this?" She finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. Her eyes darted between them James, the man who'd raised her, and Ethan, the friend she'd trusted with her deepest secrets. Neither answered. James's jaw tightened, his hands balling into fists, while Ethan looked like he might bolt. The silence was deafening, broken only by the faint hum of crickets. "I didn't mean for you to see," James said at last, his voice heavy with guilt. He took a step toward her, but Mia flinched, and he stopped short. Ethan's gaze dropped to the ground, his shoulders hunching as if he could shrink away from the moment. "See what?" Mia's voice rose, sharp and trembling. "What are you doing?" Her mind raced, piecing together fragments late-night talks. James's lingering glances at Ethan during barbecues, Ethan's sudden discomfort when she'd teased him about dating. It hit her like a wave. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was real. "Mia, please," Ethan said, his voice soft but desperate. "It's not what you think. Or maybe it is. But it's complicated." "Complicated?" She spat, her anger flaring. "You're my best friend, Ethan." "And you," she turned to James, her stepfather, the man who'd taught her to ride a bike, who'd cheered at her soccer games. "You're married to my mom." James's face crumpled, and for the first time, Mia saw him not as the unshakable figure in her life, but as a man caught in his own storm. "I never wanted to hurt you," he said, his voice barely audible. "Or Laura." Mia's chest tightened, her breath coming in short bursts. She wanted to believe him, but the betrayal stung too deep. She grabbed her backpack and ran, ignoring their calls, her sneakers pounding the gravel until she reached the street. The town blurred around her neat lawns, glowing porch lights, a world that suddenly felt foreign. She didn't stop until she reached the park, collapsing onto a bench, her mind a tangle of hurt and questions. How long had this been going on? Did her mom know? And why did it feel like her entire life had just been rewritten? As the night deepened, Mia sat there, replaying the scene. James and Ethan. The way they'd looked at each other, like the world had narrowed to just them. It wasn't just shock that kept her awake, it was the realization that she didn't know them. Not really. And maybe she didn't know herself either. The next morning, Mia avoided home, crashing at her friend Sarah's house. Sarah, oblivious to the chaos, chattered about prom plans, but Mia barely listened. Her phone buzzed with texts from Ethan, "We need to talk," and one from James, "I'm so sorry. Please come home." She ignored them, her anger a shield against the pain. But by afternoon, curiosity and a need for answers pulled her back. She found James in the kitchen, alone, his eyes red-rimmed. "Where's Mom?" Mia asked, her voice flat. "Still at the hospital," James said. "She's on a double shift." He hesitated, then added, "Mia, we need to talk about last night." "I don't want to hear it," she snapped, but she didn't leave. Something in his voice, raw, unguarded, made her stay. James took a deep breath. "I've been lying to myself for years," he said. "To your mom. To you. I thought I could keep it buried. But then Ethan," he trailed off, rubbing his face. "I didn't plan this. It just happened." Mia's stomach twisted. "So, what? You're in love with him?" James flinched, like the word love was a blade. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I care about him. And I hate that I've hurt you." Mia wanted to scream, to tell him he didn't get to feel bad, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she asked, "Does Mom know?" James shook his head. "Not yet. But I'll tell her. I owe her that." The weight of his words settled over Mia. Her mom, always exhausted but loving, didn't deserve this. None of them did. She left the kitchen without another word, her mind spinning. She needed to find Ethan. She tracked him down at the old pier by the lake, where they used to skip stones as kids. He was sitting on the edge, staring at the water, his hoodie pulled tight around him. When he saw her, he stood, his expression a mix of relief and dread. "Mia, I'm so sorry," he started, but she cut him off. "How long?" she demanded. "How long have you been lying to me?" Ethan's shoulders sagged. "A few months," he said quietly. "It started after I came back from college. I was a mess. And James, he listened. He got me in a way no one else did." Mia's throat tightened. She wanted to hate him, but the pain in his voice mirrored her own. "You're my best friend," she said, her voice breaking. "You were supposed to tell me everything." "I wanted to," Ethan said, his eyes glistening. "But I was scared. I didn't want to lose you." Mia turned away, staring at the lake. The water was calm, a cruel contrast to the storm inside her. She didn't know how to move forward, but one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same. The days that followed were a blur of silence and tension. Mia went through the motions: school, homework, soccer practice, but her mind was stuck on that backyard moment. Every time she closed her eyes, She saw James and Ethan, their faces etched with guilt and something deeper, something she couldn't name. She avoided home as much as possible, staying late at the library or lingering at Sarah's. But the questions gnawed at her. How had she missed the signs? And what did this mean for her family? Willow Creek was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone's business. But this secret felt too big, too raw to share. Mia hadn't told Sarah or anyone else. Not because she was ashamed, but because she didn't know how to put it into words. Her stepfather, the man who'd bandaged her scraped knees, was hiding a part of himself. And Ethan, her confidant, had kept her in the dark. The betrayal stung, but beneath it was a flicker of curiosity about them, about what it meant to love someone you weren't supposed to. One evening, Mia's mom, Laura, noticed her distance. They were in the kitchen, Laura still in her nurse's scrubs, chopping vegetables for dinner. "You okay, kiddo?" she asked, her voice warm but tired. "You've been quiet." Mia shrugged, poking at her phone. "Just stressed about school." Laura's eyes narrowed, but she didn't push. "If you need to talk, I'm here," she said, returning to her cutting board. Mia's chest ached. She wanted to blurt out everything, to warn her mom about the storm coming, but the words stuck. She didn't want to be the one to break her mother's heart. At school, Mia avoided Ethan, dodging his texts and skipping their usual lunch spot. But on Friday, he cornered her outside the gym, his face drawn with worry. "Mia, please," he said, his voice low. "I hate this. I hate that you're shutting me out." "You don't get to feel bad," she snapped, her anger flaring. "You lied to me." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, his eyes pleading. "I didn't want to lie. I was trying to figure it out myself. I've never felt like this before." Mia crossed her arms, her throat tight. "Felt like what?" "In love with my stepdad." Ethan flinched, but he didn't deny it. "It's not that simple," he said. "I didn't choose this." Neither did he. His words hit her hard, stirring something she wasn't ready to face. She'd always thought love was straightforward boy meets girl, like in the movies. But this was messy, complicated, and it scared her. "What about my mom?" she asked. "What about me?" Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "I care about you, Mia. You're like my sister. And James, he loves you and Laura. He's tearing himself apart over this." Mia wanted to believe him, but the hurt was too fresh. She walked away, her sneakers echoing in the empty hallway. That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying Ethan's words. He's tearing himself apart. She thought of James, his steady presence, the way he'd always been there for her. Could he really be the same man she'd seen in the backyard, caught in a moment of forbidden longing? The next day, Mia found herself at the hardware store where James worked. It was a small, cluttered shop, smelling of sawdust and metal. James was behind the counter, helping a customer, but when he saw her, his face softened. "Mia," he said, excusing himself. "I didn't expect you." "I didn't expect a lot of things," she said, her voice sharp but wavering. She didn't know why she'd come, only that she needed answers. James led her to the back room, away from prying eyes. "I owe you an explanation," he said, his voice low. "But I don't know where to start." "Start with the truth," Mia said, crossing her arms. "How long have you been with Ethan?" James sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "It's not what you think. We haven't. It's not physical. Not really. It's just feelings. And they're tearing me up. I've spent my whole life trying to be the man everyone expects: husband, father, provider. But with Ethan, I felt something I've been hiding forever. Mia's stomach churned. So you're gay? James hesitated, his eyes searching hers. I don't know what I am, he admitted. I love your mom. I love our family. But Ethan, he sees a part of me I've never let out. I didn't mean for it to happen. Mia, I swear. His honesty disarmed her, but it didn't erase the pain. You have to tell Mom, she said. She deserves to know. James nodded, his jaw tight. I will. I just need time to figure out how. Mia left the store feeling heavier than when she'd arrived. She wandered to the park, the same bench where she'd sat that first night. The air was crisp, the leaves turning gold. She thought about her mom, about the life they'd built together. James wasn't perfect, but he'd been good to them. Could she hate him for wanting to be himself? And Ethan, could she forgive him for keeping this secret? That evening, Mia found Ethan at the pier again. He looked exhausted, his eyes shadowed. I'm sorry, he said before she could speak. I should have told you. I was just scared. Mia sat beside him, the water lapping softly below. I'm still mad, she said. But I don't want to lose you. Ethan's shoulders relaxed, a small smile breaking through. You won't, he promised. I'm still your annoying best friend. They sat in silence, the weight of their words settling. Mia didn't have all the answers, but for the first time, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe they could navigate this mess together. The next week was a tightrope walk. Mia went back to school, but the routine felt hollow. Her friends noticed her distraction, but she brushed them off with excuses about exams. At home, she watched James and her mom, searching for cracks in their normalcy. Laura seemed oblivious, laughing at James's bad jokes, but Mia saw the strain in his eyes, the way he flinched when his phone buzzed. She wondered if Ethan was texting him, if they were still meeting in secret. Mia's anger had dulled, replaced by a gnawing need to understand. She started paying attention to James in a way she never had: his quiet moments, the way he'd stare out the window when he thought no one was watching. She remembered little things, how he'd never dated before her mom, how he'd always seemed more comfortable fixing things than talking about feelings. Had he been hiding this part of himself her whole life? One afternoon, Mia found herself Googling coming out later in life. The stories she read were raw men and women who'd lived decades in denial, trapped by expectations. Some found freedom, others lost everything. She thought of James, of the life he'd built with her mom. Could he walk away from that? Should he have to? At school, Ethan started showing up again, sitting at their usual lunch table. Their friends didn't notice the tension, but Mia felt it in every glance, every hesitant word. One day, he slid a note across the table. Meet me at the pier. 6 p.m. She crumpled it, but went anyway. Ethan was there, tossing pebbles into the lake. I talked to James, he said as she approached. He's going to tell your mom soon. Mia's stomach dropped. When? This weekend, Ethan said. He's terrified. Mia. He thinks it'll break her. It probably will, Mia said, her voice hard. She sat beside him, the wood creaking under her weight. Why him? Why my stepdad? Ethan sighed, his breath visible in the chilly air. I don't know. We just clicked. He's kind, you know. And he gets what it's like to feel stuck. Mia frowned, Stuck how? Ethan hesitated, then spoke softly. I've always known I was different. Growing up here, it wasn't easy. People talk, judge. James, he's been through that too, even if he didn't admit it to himself until now. Mia thought about Willow Creek, its small-town charm laced with gossip. She'd heard kids at school throw around slurs, seen the way some neighbors looked at the openly gay couple down the street. She'd never thought much about it until now. Are you scared? She asked. Every day? Ethan admitted. But I'm tired of hiding. His words lingered as Mia walked home. She thought about fear, about the courage it took to be honest. When she got to the house, James was in the garage, tinkering with an old radio. She watched him for a moment, then said, Ethan told me you're talking to Mom this weekend. James froze, his wrench slipping. He told you that? Yeah, Mia said. Are you ready? James's shoulders sagged. No. But I can't keep lying. Mia nodded, her throat tight. Just don't hurt her more than you have to. That night, Mia couldn't sleep. She kept imagining her mom's face when James told her. Would she cry? Scream? Leave? The uncertainty was suffocating. She texted Ethan, what happens after he tells her? His reply came quickly, I don't know. But we'll face it together. The weekend arrived too fast. On Saturday morning, Laura was home, humming as she made pancakes. James was quiet, his hands shaking slightly as he poured coffee. Mia watched them, her heart pounding. After breakfast, James asked Laura to sit down in the living room. Mia slipped out to the backyard, unable to stay in the house. She sat by the fence, the same spot where it all began. She could hear raised voices through the open window. Laura's shock, James's apologies. Mia hugged her knees, tears streaming down her face. She didn't want to lose her family, but she didn't know how to hold it together. Hours later, Laura found her outside. Her mom's eyes were red, but her voice was steady. Mia, we need to talk. Mia braced herself. Is it over? Are you leaving him? Laura sighed, sitting beside her. I don't know yet. This is a lot. But I love you, and that won't change. Mia leaned into her mom, the familiar scent of her perfume grounding her. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be, Laura said. This isn't your fault. They sat in silence, the weight of the truth settling around them. Mia didn't know what came next, but for the first time, she felt like they might survive this. The house felt different after that weekend, like the air itself held its breath. Laura and James moved around each other carefully, their conversations clipped and polite. Mia watched them, searching for signs of what would come next: divorce, reconciliation, or something in between. She didn't ask, and they didn't tell her. The silence was worse than yelling. At school, Mia threw herself into routine, hoping it would anchor her. But the whispers started. Willow Creek was small, and secrets didn't stay buried long. A kid in her history class asked if it was true her stepdad was with some guy. Mia's face burned as she muttered a denial, but the rumor spread like wildfire. By lunch, she felt eyes on her, judging, curious. She skipped her last class and went to the pier, needing to escape. Ethan was there, as if he'd known she'd come. I heard what people are saying, he said, sitting beside her. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Mia said, but her voice lacked conviction. She stared at the water, its ripples catching the afternoon light. Did you know it would get out? Ethan shook his head. I didn't tell anyone. Neither did James. But someone must have seen us. Or, I don't know. Mia's chest tightened. They're calling him names. Calling you names. It's like I don't even know this town anymore. Ethan's jaw clenched. I've heard worse. But James, he's not used to this. He's scared. Mia? She thought of James, his quiet strength, now crumbling under the town's gaze. What's he going to do? She asked. He's trying to figure it out, Ethan said. He wants to make things right with your mom. But he's trying to be honest with himself. Mia hugged her knees. I don't get it. How can he love her and still want you? Ethan's smile was sad. Love's messy. It doesn't always fit in a box. His words echoed in her mind as she walked home. The town felt smaller, its charm tainted by whispers. When she got to the house, Laura was on the couch, a glass of wine in hand. James was nowhere in sight. Where's James? Mia asked, dropping her backpack. Laura sighed. He went to stay with his brother for a few days. We need space. Mia's heart sank. Are you splitting up? I don't know, Laura admitted, her voice raw. I'm trying to understand. Mia? I love him. But it's a lot. Mia sat beside her, the silence heavy. She wanted to fix this, to make her mom smile again, but she didn't know how. Do you hate him? She asked. Laura shook her head. I'm hurt. Angry. But hate. No. He's still the man who raised you, who loves us. Mia's throat tightened. She thought of Ethan's words about love's messiness, about James's struggle. Can you forgive him? Laura's eyes glistened. I'm trying. That night, Mia texted Ethan, Mom's a mess. James left for a while. His reply was quick, I'm here if you need me. The next day, Mia went to the hardware store, hoping to find some piece of James to hold on to. The clerk said he'd taken a leave of absence. The store felt empty without him, the shelves too neat, the air too still. Mia wandered the aisles, remembering how James used to explain tools to her, his voice patient and proud. She missed him, even if she didn't understand him. At school, the rumors grew louder. Mia overheard a group of girls whispering about the gay thing in the cafeteria. She wanted to scream, to tell them to mind their own business. But she just walked away. Ethan found her later, his face tense. We need to talk, he said. They went to the pier, their sanctuary. James called me, Ethan said. He's coming back tomorrow. He wants to talk to you and your mom together. Mia's stomach churned. What's he going to say? I don't know, Ethan admitted. But he's trying to be honest. That's all he can do. Mia nodded, her mind racing. She didn't know if she was ready for more truth, but she knew she couldn't keep running from it. As the sun set over the lake, she felt a strange resolve. Whatever came next, she'd face it with her mom, with James, with Ethan. They were still her family, broken as it was. James came back on a rainy Tuesday, his truck pulling into the driveway as Mia watched from her bedroom window. He looked older, his shoulders hunched against the drizzle. Laura met him at the door, her face unreadable. Mia stayed upstairs, her heart pounding, until Laura called her down. The living room felt too small for the conversation ahead. James sat on the couch, Laura in the armchair, Mia on the floor, hugging a pillow. The silence was suffocating until James spoke, his voice steady but low. I owe you both the truth, he said. I've been hiding who I am for a long time. Not just from you, but from myself. I thought I could be the husband and father you needed, and I love you both so much. But I'm attracted to men. I've known it for years, but I buried it. Laura's face was pale, her hands clasped tightly. Why didn't you tell me? She asked, her voice breaking. All these years, James. I was ashamed, he admitted. I grew up in a place where this wasn't okay. I thought if I built a good life, it would go away. But it didn't. Mia's chest ached. She thought of the stories she'd read online, of people trapped by fear. What about Ethan? She asked, her voice small. James's eyes softened. Ethan's special. He's the first person I let myself be honest with. But I haven't been fair to him either, keeping this secret. Laura stood, pacing. So what now? Do you want to leave? Be with him? James shook his head. I don't know what I want, Laura. I just know I can't keep lying. I want to fix this, if you'll let me. Laura's eyes filled with tears. I need time, she said, then left the room. Mia stayed, her gaze locked on James. Are you going to leave us? She asked. Never, he said fiercely. You're my daughter, Mia. Maybe not by blood, but in every way that matters. Mia nodded, tears spilling over. She didn't know if she believed him, but she wanted to. After he left to unpack, she texted Ethan, he told her. It's bad. Ethan replied, meet me at the pier. When Mia got there, Ethan was waiting, his hoodie damp from the rain. How's your mom? He asked. Hurting, Mia said. She doesn't know what to do. Ethan nodded, his eyes distant. James called me. He's ending things with me. Says he needs to focus on you and your mom. Mia's heart sank. Are you okay? Ethan shrugged, a sad smile tugging at his lips. I will be. I just want him to be happy. You know. Even if it's not with me. Mia sat beside him, the rain pattering around them. She thought about love, how it could hurt as much as it healed. You're still my best friend, she said. No matter what. Ethan's smile widened. Good. 'Cause you're stuck with me. The next day, Mia noticed a shift at home. Laura and James were talking more. Not warmly, but honestly. Mia overheard them discussing counseling, a way to navigate the mess. At school, the rumors hadn't died, but Mia found herself caring less. She started sitting with Ethan again, ignoring the stares. One day, she overheard a kid call Ethan a name, and without thinking, she snapped, "Mind your own business." The kid backed off, and Ethan gave her a grateful look. You didn't have to do that, he said. Yeah, I did, Mia replied. She was done letting the town's judgment define her family. As weeks passed, Mia saw James and Laura trying. They went to therapy, had long talks at night. Mia didn't know if they'd stay together, but she saw their love in the effort. She started talking to Ethan about his own struggles, learning about his fear of coming out, his dreams of leaving Willow Creek. Their friendship deepened, rooted in honesty. One evening, Mia found James in the garage, working on that old radio again. You're good at fixing things, she said. James smiled, a real one this time. Not everything, but I'm trying. Mia nodded. That's enough for now. Spring arrived, painting Willow Creek in shades of green. Mia felt the change in herself to a cautious hope. The house was still tense, but Laura and James were working through it, their voices softer during late-night talks. Mia didn't eavesdrop anymore. She trusted they'd tell her what mattered. At school, the rumors faded, replaced by new gossip. Mia and Ethan reclaimed their lunch table, their laughter a small rebellion against the town's judgment. Ethan opened up more, sharing stories of his college days, his fear of being outed. Mia listened, her anger long gone, replaced by a fierce protectiveness. One Saturday, Mia joined James at the hardware store, helping him restock shelves. It was their first real time alone since his confession. "How's therapy going?" she asked, stacking cans of paint. James paused, wiping his brow. "It's hard. Your mom's still hurt, but she's trying to understand. We're figuring out what we can be to each other." Mia nodded. "Do you miss Ethan?" James's face tightened, but he didn't look away. "Yeah. But I made my choice. You and your mom come first." Mia's throat tightened. She wanted to ask if he was happy, but the question felt too big. Instead, she said, "I'm proud of you. For being honest." James's eyes glistened. "Means a lot, kid." That evening, Mia met Ethan at the pier. He'd been distant, focusing on a new job at the local bookstore. "You okay?" she asked, noticing the shadows under his eyes. "Just figuring out what's next," he said. "I'm thinking of moving to Columbus. Bigger city. More freedom." Mia's heart sank, but she nodded. "You deserve that." Ethan smiled, tossing a pebble into the lake. "I'll miss you, though. You're my family, too." Mia hugged him, the first real hug since that night in the backyard. "You better visit," she said, her voice muffled. "Always," he promised. As summer loomed, Mia felt the pieces of her life shifting. Laura and James decided to stay together, not as husband and wife, but as partners, redefining their bond. Mia admired their courage, their willingness to rewrite their story. She started researching colleges, dreaming of a future beyond Willow Creek. One day, she found a letter from James on her desk. It was short, written in his neat handwriting. "Mia, you've always been my daughter. Thank you for giving me a chance to be your dad, flaws and all." She cried reading it, not out of sadness, but gratitude. At the pier with Ethan, she showed him the letter. "He's trying," she said. Ethan nodded. "He's a good guy. Just took him a while to figure it out." Mia smiled, the lake sparkling under the sun. She thought about love, its messiness, its pain, its power to heal. Her family wasn't perfect, but it was hers, and that was enough. Summer brought heat and change to Willow Creek. Mia spent her days working at the local ice cream shop, saving for college. The town felt less suffocating now, its whispers drowned out by her growing confidence. She'd learned to navigate the stairs, to hold her head high when kids at school asked nosy questions. Her family was her own, and no one else's opinion mattered. Laura and James were finding a new rhythm. They sold the house and moved to a smaller one, a fresh start. Mia helped pack, finding old photos of her and James building a birdhouse, laughing at a county fair. She kept them, a reminder of the good before the storm. Ethan was preparing for his move to Columbus. Mia helped him sort through his apartment, packing books and clothes. "Nervous?" she asked, taping a box shut. "Terrified," he admitted, grinning. "But excited. I want to be somewhere I can be myself." Mia nodded, understanding more than ever. "You'll find your people," she said. "And you better call me every week," he promised, pulling her into a hug. At home, Mia noticed Laura smiling more. One evening, she found her mom in the kitchen, baking cookies, a rare sight. "You seem happy," Mia said. Laura shrugged, a small smile playing on her lips. "I'm getting there. James and I, we're not what we were, but we're something new. Something honest." Mia hugged her, feeling the weight of their journey. "I'm glad," she said. The next day, James took Mia to the hardware store, now under new management. He was transitioning to a part-time role, focusing on himself for the first time. "I'm thinking of taking a woodworking class," he said, his voice light. "Always wanted to build furniture." Mia grinned. "You should. You're good at making things." James chuckled, ruffling her hair like he did when she was little. "Thanks, kid, for everything." As Ethan's moving day approached, Mia organized a small goodbye party at the pier. She invited their friends, who'd slowly come around, accepting Ethan for who he was. They ate pizza, played music, and laughed under the stars. James showed up briefly, dropping off a cooler of sodas. He and Ethan exchanged a glance, not longing, but respectful, a quiet acknowledgement of their shared past. Mia watched them, her heart full. She'd lost the simple family she'd known, but she'd gained something deeper, a family built on truth. As Ethan drove away the next morning, waving from his packed car, Mia felt a pang, but also pride. He was chasing his freedom, and she'd helped him get there. By fall, Mia was packing for college, her room a maze of boxes. She'd chosen a school in Chicago, a city big enough to lose herself in, to find herself in. Laura and James helped her load the car, their teamwork a quiet testament to their new bond. They weren't a traditional family, but they were family still. The drive to Chicago was long, filled with Laura's stories and James's bad jokes. Mia laughed, her heart lighter than it had been in months. At her dorm, they lingered, hugging her tightly. "Call us," Laura said, her eyes misty. "Every week," Mia promised, echoing Ethan's words. Back in Willow Creek for winter break, Mia visited the pier, now a place of memories. Ethan was there, home for the holidays. He looked different, confident, his smile brighter. "Columbus is amazing," he said, tossing a pebble into the lake. "I found a community. People like me." Mia grinned. "Told you you'd find your people." They talked for hours, catching up on his new life, her college adventures. As the sun set, Mia felt a deep peace. The backyard moment that had shattered her world had also rebuilt it. Stronger, more honest. Back home, James and Laura were hosting a small Christmas party. The house was warm, filled with laughter. Mia watched them, hand in hand, not as lovers, but as partners who'd chosen each other despite the pain. She thought of Ethan, chasing his truth, and herself, stepping into a future she couldn't yet see. Later, alone in her room, Mia wrote in her journal, "Love isn't perfect. It's messy, hard, but worth it. I walked in on a secret, but I found a family." She closed the book, smiling. The haunting moment in the backyard was still there, but it no longer defined her. It had led her to something better: understanding, forgiveness, and a love that could bend but not break.